Good day and welcome to Psych Sense, where we make sense of mental health. I'm Ken Mallon, your host, and today I'm going to be talking about the unconscious mind. Now, one of the goals of psychoanalysis is to make the unconscious conscious. But what are we talking about when we're talking about unconsciousness? What we're talking about is typically wishes and urges and thoughts that are somehow repressed or are deep in our unconscious that we can't get ready access to. Now, why it is important to make unconscious things conscious is to help a person understand what the motivations and possible causes are of certain behaviors. So for example, if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling anxious or you don't understand why you're getting angry or you're having temper issues, it could be that something has occurred in your life that was traumatic or somehow caused a mark on you and you're unconscious that you aren't totally aware of but causes problems. An example is maybe something frightened you very badly when you're a child, and now whenever you walk through a park you feel nervous and you're not quite sure why. You have a memory there that is affecting you, but you aren't totally conscious of what's causing it. The notion of the unconscious mind was popularized by Sigmund Freud around 120 years ago, but was really around for hundreds if not thousands of years before that, and was understood as being a way that people protect themselves without having access to everything deep inside their brains. Now, there are a variety of techniques that psychoanalysts use to tap into the unconscious. One of these is free association. Now, in free association, the analyst gets the client to completely relax, and this can sometimes take quite a long time to be completely relaxed, and then just freely think and talk out loud whatever pops into their heads. Now, for someone to interpret this stream of consciousness requires quite a lot of training and skill, because you'd be looking for things like hesitation on certain words, pausing, correcting oneself, associating certain things with other things, how things are described, the order that they're described. So there's a lot of technique that goes into it and a lot of subjectivity, which is why the use of free association is hotly debated. It's not totally clear how to make use of it. Another technique used by psychoanalysts is through the interpretation of dreams. They'll ask their clients to think about their dreams. Sometimes they can recall them readily, in which case they're discussed. And other times, the client must practice and basically exercise their brains and their skills in order to remember dreams. And typically this is done by instructing the client to have something next to their bed where they can write down their thoughts as soon as they wake up in the morning. And if you start to do this, you will begin to see that you can more readily remember your dreams. Many people say, oh, I don't have dreams or I don't remember them. Everybody has dreams. It's just that we typically, as soon as we wake up, we start thinking about other things and then the dream is lost. But if we get into the practice of very quickly writing down whatever's in our thoughts when we wake up, this can be useful, and bringing that notepad or other recording device to the therapist can be very useful to help reveal the unconscious. Another area that is often used to tap into the conscious is something called projective techniques. Now, we've all heard of the Rorschach test and ink blots. That's one example of a projective technique. You're asked to look at a certain image and say what you see. Do you see people fighting? Do you see a butterfly? Do you see someone flying? Do you see two people arguing? The therapist, once again, needs to be pretty well trained to interpret this and understand it. And there's also some debate as to the usefulness, and there's some controversy because of the subjective nature of this. However, there are some core aspects of it that have been studied where there is good correlations established and verified use of this. Another area that I've been pretty interested in lately and want to explore sometime in the future is the use of comedy. It's very interesting when you sit in a theater or you're with friends watching a movie and you see what makes someone laugh and what makes others not laugh, what makes people cry. And so I think using movies, comedy, certain scenes that are sad and so forth can really reveal the unconscious, because usually one's visceral reaction, a cry, startle, laughter, I think can be very useful, and this is something that I want to explore. There is some literature on it, but I think it's going to be very useful in the future to look at things like that, especially as we get more into virtual reality. You can imagine bringing someone into a clinical setting, suiting them with virtual reality headgear, exposing them to a lot of situations, and recording not just their physical reaction and their verbal reaction, but also record biologics. So you can imagine having electrodes and recording brain activity, recording pulse, recording blood pressure and other things as the person is exposed to different events. And I think that can be very useful to reveal unconscious thoughts as well. So I hope you enjoyed that little summary of the unconscious mind. Thank you for watching Psych Sense, where we make sense of mental health. I'm Ken Mallon, your host, and I'll see you next time.